You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 511 for Sunday, the 21st of July, 2024.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. We managed to sync diaries and everything. It's amazing.
I know. Despite all the cray-cray, we have got a show out. I will say now, coming up to the summer, there may not be a show every single week because I will be away, Jane will be away, but we will endeavour to entertain as much as we physically can. And while we are actually on our holidays, do look out for that there Instagram and any live bits that we may choose to do, which we'd like you to come along with us.
Yeah, sharing the fun.
Absolutely, because at heart, despite all of the recent whining we have done, we do actually love Disney. Some things we don't love, some things we do love.
Yes, it's challenging, shall we say. Testing, I think, is the word at the moment, isn't it?
And we like to be honest. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
Oh, no.
But today we have a positive, packed podcast, a little bit of alliteration too. And let's start with some history because yesterday, as of recording for the 21st, on the 20th of July 1955, the Tomorrowland boats, which were later named the Phantom Boats, debuted in Disneyland's Tomorrowland Lagoon. This attraction featured 14 brightly painted, gas-powered fiberglass boats. However, the boats failed to impress the guests, with only around 450 boarding onto the boats on the first day, resulting in a massive lack of attendance. After some troublesome months ahead, continual breakdowns, it ended up having a brief refurb, and then on the 16th of August 1955 it reopened as the Phantom Boats. However, there was a problem, and it ultimately ended up that this attraction was the very first Disneyland attraction to close.
Oh, although it's kind of comforting that even way back then they had problems with opening attractions.
Absolutely. Hello guys on the Tiana team. Just look back historically. 20th of July 1969 was the date of the historic Apollo 11 moon landing, and it was televised on Disneyland's Tomorrowland stage. Now we all know that man who stepped first, Neil Armstrong. He also took part in the 2005 opening of Disneyland Space Mountain. He was the very first human to set foot on the moon, followed by Buzz Aldrin, the lunar module pilot, who later became the inspiration for the Pixar character Buzz Lightyear. I also want to give a shout out to Stephen Bales, who was a member of the mission control team at NASA's Johnson Space Center. He was inspired to become an aeronautical engineer by a 1950s Disney television show that predicted how men might travel to the moon and beyond.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
On this day in 1999, the very first Disney Fast Pass ticket was given out for free at Walt Disney World.
Was that for free, Michelle?
It was for free. Did anybody miss that bit?
It was for free, and it was paper, and it was tactile. Oh, I do miss those days.
I miss the days of getting to Hollywood Studios and doing that quick walk to try and get an attraction in for Toy Story Midway Mania.
Yeah.
And they'd frequently go so soon.
Yeah.
But
it was part of the fun, wasn't it?
It was.
You got your steps in early. What are you moaning about?
Yeah, it was good fun. Good fun. Do you know that it's a special month this month, my darling?
It's July.
It is July.
It's summer.
It is summer.
The British weather's just caught on with that fact, I think, as we record today. What else am I missing?
It's Disability Pride Month.
Did not know that.
No, because unlike Pride Month and Bats Day and any other day, there's no celebrity cupcake, etc. available in Walt Disney World.
Ah.
Yeah. However, one of the groups I'm a member of, a member posted they'd found this in one of the Disney little lockers. This little blue duck is a symbol of all the children and adults with significant and life-altering disabilities that Disney no longer recognises as worthy of their Disability Access Programme. Scan the QR code to find out more. And if you hop on over to Facebook, there is an incredibly active group with 10,000 plus members, the Disney DAS Defenders, and people who have been impacted on by the changes to the Disability Access Scheme in Walt Disney World and soon to be Disneyland as well. This group are doing their best to share stories, to try and support each other. And if it's something of interest to you, I highly recommend you have a look. But man, there's some stories on there, Jane, and yeah, it's quite heartbreaking to read. You've got to have a really strong character when you read through the difficulties that some people have, and they are being refused, and they're saying, I'm obviously not disabled enough, and they've gone through all the things that they can think of why a queue is problematic for them. So I really, really do feel for the members of that group. They are currently trying to raise funds because for D23, they are wanting to hire a vehicle that drives around the Anaheim Convention Centre, advertising the fact what Disney are doing to the Disability Access Scheme. Good on you.
Well, good on them. And, let's hope that through the power of social media, as Disney sometimes do, they take note of what's being said out there, and perhaps these little nuggets of information will work their way through. I thought it was extremely sad that on a random Facebook post, there was a question about, would you be going to Disney World, this year, next year, whenever? And I just did the casual, click on, see what the comments are. And I was reading them out loud to Simon. I said, this is not a word of a lie. And literally, I would have to say 98% were saying the reason they weren't going was DAS. And it was quite, I thought there'll be quite a few, talking about the price hikes and, the fast pass and all the changes, particularly for the international guests, which were getting mentioned. They were in there. But it was very sad, actually, that a high proportion were obviously having to change their plans or rethink their approach to Disney because of that removal of that system.
Yeah. And I have heard from lots of our listeners that have said they've changed their plans, they've cancelled their plans, or they were maybe thinking about it, maybe for 2025, and they've now booked to go to Universal or maybe go elsewhere and not go to a theme park. So, yeah, please keep reaching out to us, guys. We really do love to hear your stories.
Yeah, it's interesting times ahead, and whilst we, so those of us that are going to WDW this year may benefit from the very low crowds. There's, Disney have got to be asking themselves why those crowds aren't there, and this is one of those reasons.
I must admit, the other day I saw something on social media saying it was 9 o'clock in the morning and there were still virtual queues available for Tiana's.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
Well, I've watched vlogs of late and people are wandering around MK and places, and it's like, it looks like a ghost town. I think I heard one vlogger say this is like, when they reopened post-pandemic and crowds were light and they were restricting the numbers, obviously, into the parks at that point, and it's very weird when you're used to watching things and, seeing all the really, really, really high wait times, and, you watch a vlog and the wait times come up and the biggest wait time might be 45 minutes, and you know quite well that it's not 45 minutes because they always inflate the times, and you're thinking, crikey.
And that's what a lot of people have been saying, that the wait times have actually been shown as much, much higher, and maybe people have been panicked thinking, I best buy a Lightning Lane single or multi-pass so that they don't have these queues. But in fact, when people have timed them, the wait has been much, much shorter.
Yeah, and can you imagine if you've done that, and you have got shelled out for whichever, a Lightning Lane or a multi-pass or whatever it is that we're blooming well calling them nowadays, and then to find out that, I think I saw something the other day that it was posted as a 60-minute wait, I think the person in question got through in 27 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not going to be booking any. It doesn't fit in my budget for this trip anyway. This is a very much budget trip. When we booked it, we didn't think we'd have to be booking this service. So we probably won't use it at all. If we do, we might give it a try out in the second week when we're actually able to get the advantage of being able to book these Lane 7 days out. But we'll see. It may not come to it. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Rise of the Resistance has launched a single rider line, Jane. But if you are going to use this, please bear in mind that there is a lot of storytelling to this attraction. It's not just the ride in the vehicle. There's a lot of pre-story. There's an actual ride on a transporter. You miss all of that and you actually come into the attraction in the Stormtrooper room. So you've missed quite a bit of storytelling. Now, if you've done the attraction before, I say, okay, yeah, use single rider. But if you haven't, I'd put up with the queue because you do miss a lot out of it because you just basically get the bare bones of it. And if you're happy with the bare bones, I think it's really good it's been done. There has been reports of some people saying it's taking away the magic for other people because as you're joining this transport vehicle, there's queues of other people walking to the side of you, going through as they get on for single rider. And I suppose some of the magic does get a little bit spoiled.
That's a difficult one, isn't it? I'd seen that they'd opened it up, and then I'd seen as well that, you know, one of the pitfalls of the single rider was you're missing that chunk of that. And I would consider that what you're missing is part of the ride experience, is it not? It is supposed to be that multi-stage ride. So yeah, and that's I hadn't really given much thought to that aspect, Shell. So that's a bit of a peculiar one. I think it's great that they're giving you the option. Don't get me wrong. I think any time that you can put something like this in that helps speed things up for people, great. And it is obviously in trial at the moment, isn't it? So we shall see what actually happens with it.
Beginning Wednesday the 25th of September, guests staying at select Disney hotels can enjoy extended evening hours at Disney's Hollywood Studios. From the 25th of September, the theme park will be open from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And at the moment, the Magic Kingdom has extended hours on a Wednesday. This perk will cease on Wednesday the 18th because the Magic Kingdom will no longer be offering this and it's shifting over to Hollywood Studios. I imagine this is because of all the dates for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Of course,
that they're not giving those deluxe hotel guests, a removal of a privilege. So, yeah. And I think it's quite good because Hollywood Studios on an evening, you can get quite a few attractions done that you'd normally be queuing up for quite a while.
Yeah, because there's some big rides there that do have genuinely big queues. So yeah, I hadn't really given consideration. So yeah, good on them that they're not just taking something away because of the knock-on effect of the Halloween parties. At least they're moving it to another park, so you can still get that benefit.
There is an additional water attraction that has just opened in the Magic Kingdom, apparently.
A water attraction?
A water attraction. It is where guests dip into the rivers of America and go for a swim.
Oh, yes. Really, guys? No.
I would not put a pinky in those waters. I'm sorry, Jane. Whether it's the flesh-eating bacteria, amoeba type thing, no. The fact that I don't know what's in that water because it is Florida.
Quite.
Snap.
Snappy things, yeah, definitely.
Jeffrey Tillett shared a video via TikTok on the 16th of July of a guest seen swimming from Tom Sawyer Island to a dock behind Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, paddling and kicking to get across the waterway. It is unclear how the guest got in the water, was able to stay in the water without anybody doing anything, or how long they were swimming for. But as people who are listening to this show now, you are as dumbstruck as us. Nobody would ever think about getting in a waterway And we've seen this before. We've seen it over at Port Orleans, people going in the waterways there. It's just, no, don't do it. You are putting your life at risk, and you never know, you may get trespassed from Disney.
Well, there is that, and I say that, Disney are pretty good at putting signs up on big water expanses about, those snappy snap things. And also, you don't know what mechanical things are in there as well for the boats going around. I mean, you could get yourself into all sorts of trouble. I hope this person is genuinely okay, and that it was just they had a moment, shall we say. But yeah, be careful, guys, and just think common sense, please.
I'll end it with the rules. There is no swimming allowed in any Walt Disney World lake or waterway other than the resort pools.
Exactly.
So, right, we've got a little bit of a featurette this week where Jane and I have done a little bit of research to give you some really good ideas on how to save those dollars when you want to dine in Disney parks, and give you some examples of perhaps something that you may not have thought about to save you a little bit of money when we compare it to something that perhaps is a little bit pricier. And I'm going to shout out for Epcot. Jane, which park are you going to choose?
I'll do Magic Kingdom.
Okay, all right, super. Well, the weather at the moment in the parks is extremely hot. It's humid, it's the summer, wonderful. So what are you going to want to have? You are going to want to have copious amounts of ice cream. And as of recording today on the 18th, it is the second National Dole Whip Day. Did you know that, Jay?
I didn't know there was two.
Yeah, last year and this year.
Is that all we've got, is it?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not talking about Dole Whip because we are over in Epcot, but I am going to give a shout out to Les Artisans de Glace and their lovely ice cream and sorbet, because you can get one generous scoop of a flavour of your choice in a cup or a basic cone for $5.75 plus tax. Now for me, a scoop of ice cream in a cone makes better value than a Mickey Premium bar, and I'm going to explain why. The number of times I've spent $6 for a Mickey Premium bar, and either the chocolate has melted or fallen off the actual stick before I've even got it out of the wrapper, or it literally melts all over me because chocolate, Florida, July and August don't go together. So I think this ice cream in a cone or a cup is a much better value. And for me, who's particularly partial to raspberry sorbet, you can get that in one of the cones, and delicious.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, to be fair, Michelle, we know that a Mickey ice cream bar is basically, what would we call it, a Dover Galaxy sort of type of Magnum, isn't it? It's that type of ice cream. So you are paying for the novelty of it being Mickey shaped.
Yeah.
Whereas with something like you've suggested, it's unique flavour. It's a bit more high end as well, isn't it?
And to be quite honest, in the UK, if I'm going to the supermarket, I can buy 3 Magnums for £2, which is just over $2.60.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend $6 on a Mickey bar. It's just not happening. Sorry.
No
more Mickey bars for Shelley.
If you're an ice cream fan, then there's lots of other different options out there, isn't there?
Yeah, and I particularly think in Jane's Park, she's going to talk about, the Plaza Inn have the most amazing sundaes for just a couple more dollars, and you get multiple scoops of ice cream in a waffle cone, plus the delicious, delightful chocolate fudge sauce that they do. And I don't care what anyone in the UK says, you cannot replicate that chocolate fudge sauce in the UK, because our chocolate is not the same.
No, it's not, is it?
So, what about you, Jane? What did you start off with the Magic Kingdom?
Well, talking snacky snacks, I'm not actually that big of an ice cream girl. So I don't tend to get drawn towards ice cream. So I was looking for something that I've not had before, and that was intriguing to me. So I actually went over to the lunching pad, and I've gone for the sticky bubble bread because I've never had bubble bread. So sweetbread rolled in cinnamon, caramel and warm spices. It's ticking. I love those cinnamon and spice type mixtures. I know it's quite fally inspired. It's quite Christmassy, but I do like those sort of things. $5.79 I didn't think was too bad for something a little bit different, because I was trying to stay away from the particularly at Magic Kingdom, the obvious choices would be Dole Whip, etc. And I thought I was just trying to find something that was not as obvious as you'd expect. So
Well, yeah, that's a
Munching
good
Pad.
point. And to be honest, sometimes you sort of forget about that place and they have all sorts of really cool other bits and pieces that you can pick up and enjoy.
Yeah. So sometimes it's worth, isn't it? Just going to the unexpected. Just not going to where you always go, I think is the thing sometimes. And you've got pretzels over there if you don't want a nice sticky sweetbread. You've got different pretzels you can have, and they tend to be quite on the large size. So they would do you, wouldn't they, for
Yeah.
keep you going for a little bit.
A little bit of cabbage.
A little bit of garbage. You're going to walk it off anyway. You'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must admit, one of the most favourite snacks I've ever had was the jalapeno cheese Mickey pretzel that you used to be able to get at Bengal Barbecue over in Disneyland. They were just sublime.
Yeah. Well, they do a cream cheese stuffed pretzel at Lunching Pad. Maybe not quite the same, but
No.
potential.
I'm now going to give you an alternative. I'm going to give you an incredibly cheap drink, and then I'm going to give you one of the more expensive drinks that I have seen.
Oh, okay.
So I'm talking about Epcot.
Yeah.
I am going to offer you free soda. Costs you nothing. Go to Club Cool and fill your boots with Beverly till your heart content. Take along those newbie friends of yours who've never been there and tell them they've got to down 5 cups of Beverly. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's the law.
But unfortunately for me, I'm not drinking soda, so I can't partake of that. So my second option of a beverage of no cost is going to a counter service and saying, can I have some ice water, please? And they will provide it. The best one to do this at is Starbucks because you will get a very large cup of ice water.
And that's good to note, though, that most, well, all of the parks will have stations, won't they, where you can go and do this. So, get in the water because, hydration in Florida heat is important. So you will find those free iced waters all around for you.
But if you want a very expensive beverage, San Angel Inn, they have a margarita and it has a particular type of tequila, some Alma Finca orange liqueur, rosé wine, Abasolo corn whiskey, fresh lime juice, black ant salt rim. It's put together and it's going to cost you a staggerocious $24.
Ouch.
I thought the grapefruit Schofferhofer beer at over $10 was really expensive, especially when I can get it for under $5 a tin at home. But
Yeah.
this was like, oh my word. It's incredibly expensive to drink alcohol in the parks. It's something I personally don't do. However, if I was going to go down that route, I'd probably go over and get the Grand Marnier slushy over from the other side of the park because I think that's a better value.
Yeah, there is alcohol options aplenty in Epcot, but please, guys, remember you're drinking in high temperatures. You're dehydrated. That alcohol is going to hit you a lot harder and a lot quicker than you might realise. So, and in light of lots of other things that have been happening, with guests, shall we say, that alcohol perhaps not always the best option.
No, but I did offer you an expensive one, so I'm going to give you a really cheap beverage.
Okay.
I am a Starbucks fan. I love my Starbucks. However, their coffees are incredibly expensive. Really expensive. My top tip actually would be is to get a large style coffee and split between 2. If you're just needing that kick of Starbucks, I'd probably go for the smaller tall cup because you would get that caffeination and it's a bit cheaper. It saves a few dollars. However, if you don't want a sort of Starbucks level coffee and you just wanting that kick up the bottom caffeine hit, why not go to Morocco Coffee and Pastries? You can pick up a coffee for $3.50.
Wow.
I know. It's not your latte or macchiato or frappu cappuccino malarkey. It is just a coffee which you can add, your usual milk, cream or whatever to. But if it's that caffeination you need, it's a big difference from paying, what, $8-9 for a large Starbucks?
Yeah, and I would guess if it's in Morocco, it's going to be quite a strong coffee as well.
That's why I picked Morocco. But a lot of the Joffrey's carts, I will say, do offer this style of coffee. And so do Starbucks if you just go for an Americano with room for milk or cream.
Yeah, true.
Jane, what have you got next?
Well, talking of coffee, because I like my coffee.
Caffeination Queen.
Well, to be fair, I do drink an awful lot of decaf throughout the day. But yeah, coffee tends to be my go-to. I'm not very soda orientated. Never have been. I've never really been a soda sort of girl. So I was looking around and I was trying to find something drink wise that would be not my normal, but that was still decent value. So I picked a Joffrey's. Now this is over at Sunshine Tree Terrace. I just like the sound of this. So it's Joffrey's Shaken Jamaican Cold Brew. So I'm getting the cold drink, but I'm getting my coffee as well. So these are coffee beans blended with caramel, vanilla, and smoky flavours, apparently, steeped in water at cool temperatures for an extended period of time to create a smooth cup of cold brew. $4.99. I thought that, for me, personally, is a decent price. Like you said, Shell, you're not paying Starbucks prices, and I'm getting my coffee kick, and it's cold and refreshing.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, tick.
Lots of ticks on that. And we need those ticks because, boy, oh boy, you need it. I've got a bit of a sneaky one next, Jane.
Right.
So, something again Michelle doesn't eat. Popcorn. Now, if you go to World Nature, there's a popcorn cart there, and you get the standard, not the Mr. Toad, not Halloween, not Mickey Trumpeter or Nutcracker. I'm just talking a bog standard souvenir bucket. You pay $12 and then you can have that bucket of popcorn refilled every time for $2. Now, it does say on the website, which I was quite surprised about, valid for the length of stay. So if you're there for 2 weeks, in theory, you are going to really smash it out by getting lots and lots of popcorn. And let's be honest, even if you're charging you 10 cents a go for your popcorn, it's not really going to cost that much. So I thought that was quite a good one.
If you like your popcorn, it's worth considering, isn't it?
Absolutely. When you make comparisons to the bespoke popcorn you can get in Magic Kingdom or over in Caramel Couche with the lovely, delicious caramel goodness, this is going to save a lot of money.
Definitely.
Back to you, Jane.
Right. Well, I'm looking for some heartiness now. I'm looking for my meal. I'm looking for what am I going to get? Where am I going to go? So, I often mention this place because I love this as an eatery. And I'm going to mention Columbia Harbour House. I know I always pick Columbia Harbour House. But the reason I'm picking it is because you go upstairs, it's quiet, it's air-conned, and you can chill out for a bit. Number one. Secondly, I just like the fact that for the money, because to be fair, if you look across most of the quick services, the prices are pretty similar across the board. There's an awful lot of different burger options. There's an awful lot of different hot dog options. But I was just kind of looking to see if I could find something that was feeling a bit more like food, rather than fast food. So over at Columbia, I've actually picked the maple mustard glazed salmon. And it's got served with green beans and rice, and it's $14.79. Now, there are other options. I didn't think that was too bad for salmon. You could go a little bit cheaper. They've got a trio platter, so you're going to get your shrimp, your chicken, and your fish served with some French fries. And I just thought it's a nice place. There are dessert options that you could have if you so wished, and obviously drinks in there as well. So you could sit there and have your whole thing. Or if you didn't want to spend that much on your meal, you could just pick a side.
True.
You could have like the New England clam chowder for $6.79. That might be an option. Throw some green beans with it at $4.99. So you've got a meal for what, just under $11 sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I just like the fact that you go there, you've got options, and if you want to have a bit of dessert as well, the Boston cream pie jumps out at me, but so yeah. But it was the salmon. I just thought that's kind of like having proper food when you've maybe had a diet for a few days that's been your classic pizza, burgers, hot dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I've got on my list, Jane. I've got no more. Do you have any more?
No, I'm Magic Kingdom out. I've had my snack, I've had my drink, and I've enjoyed my salmon. Thank you very much.
We've not been able to squeeze in Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, so why not join us? We're going to continue this chat about this and a few more topics over on our Patreon channel, and we will share some extra audio content for our supporters over there. If you want to follow along the fun, find us on Facebook, Disney Dream Girls Podcast Family, Instagram at DisDreamGirls, and we always love to hear from you via email info@DisneyDreamGirls.com. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And bye from me.